seen any information that suggests we can even come close at this point.
I agree, it probably shouldn't be included at this point in time. And I don't see us implementing anything even now, well, starting in October, to get it anywhere in place. I think it's more appropriate during the regular budgetary process to, handle it at April town meeting and start with the new fiscal year. Unless there's some new proposal that I haven't heard of either that's been.
Oh, it'd have to be, for this year, it'd have to be absolutely a cost saving this year.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, but
You wanna talk about it for two
Unless
thousand
you-
nine
let-
budget, we can do that too.
Let's give him a chance to explain it.
well, we don't, but I don't think we need to save a warrant, a space for a warrant article, because I don't see, and again, we have plenty of time.
Yeah.
In other words, if he's got a presentation, then go ahead and forward it to us, and we'll take a look at it even in our packet. And,
Greg, you haven't received anything in addition?
We received some information as part of last year's budget process. However, we raised ambulance fees to balance the budget. We didn't direct those back toward the fire department, so I'm not aware of any specific monies that are out there that would fully fund us at this point.
We raised ambulance fees that fund the fire department budget.
Right,
Correct.
right,
Balance
right, I'm
the
saying
budget.
it's more self-supporting.
It wasn't to balance the regular operating budget. It was to,
Well, in a way, it did, right? Because we put less of our tax dollars into it and more of our fees into that portion of the budget.
I would agree, I think it's premature to put it on the warrant.
so next one, housekeeping.
There was a request that came from the CPC that the ownership or the transfer of custody of Kid Spot should be in the Parks and Recreation Department. As we understand, it's presently in conservation, so no one objects to the fact that it should be transferred. It just requires a vote of town meeting, so it's not like we're gonna have an argument since we want to remain as conservation. It gives the Parks and Recreation Department ultimate responsibility for making improvements to it, keeping it up.
I didn't realize it was in conservation.
I didn't either.
We'll do some research.
That's why we consider it more housekeeping than.
M can be, was submitted as a warrant article, however, it can be combined under the capital plan. You'll recall there was $50,000 that was put aside at the April town meeting for fiscal '08 to proceed with the renovation of Kid Spot. However, those monies were not spent. The town has since pursued a grant. As part of that grant, we're required to come up with some type of matching funds. So this is a request that's been submitted through Parks and Rec and the CPC. I've suggested, again, it's one of those items you may want to invite them in and hear what they have to say about the proposal.
Do we have any idea?
CPC, I'm sorry.
The planning administrator.
Yeah, they've put forward a grant application.
She puts, it's not CPC, she hasn't taken a position.
No.
on it.
Do we have any idea, Greg, what the matching funds might be?
My recollection is somewhere in the range of $44,000. That was my reading. I remember seeing the grant. There was that big,
Yeah.
thick
It was like
packet
88
that
and
you
half
got.
of it's 44.
Let's see,
So, but we have 50,
You're 50 sitting there
Available.
anyway, right,
Well, you're talking about the money that
from Hillview.
went away.
well, it didn't go away.
What was fiscal '08 money?
Oh, it was it wasn't a warrant article?
No, it's fiscal '08 money to transfer money to the Parks and Recreation.
That was done under the, April town meeting to amend the current operating
Budget.
budget.
Okay,
So
sorry.
that
I
means,
thought it was a
so that means their
capital.
surplus is $50,000 higher than
Yeah.
anticipated because it wasn't spent. So, I mean, maybe what we should do is have a similar article in October to do a similar thing with the Hillview funds again, just to make the funds available.
You talked to them about
No, I haven't talked about So the funding for renovating Kid Spot, what is the proposal? That's just the grant money, and then the matching funds?
This would cover the matching funds.
And is it being proposed to use the Hillview as
I-
the source?
I don't know the source, and I don't wanna commit specifically to the source. We want the proponent of the article being here to explain it to me.
All right, before we get the proponent in here, can we find out and then at least inform Hillview? You know, so that if there's gonna be an adjustment to their budget, they'll know about
Yeah,
it
it would be the
before they read
only-
about it in the paper.
It would be the only source.
I would think so, yeah. And since they already committed the funds, it shouldn't be an issue, because they've actually had a pretty good year. So far,
Despite all the rain?
Despite all that rain.
And all this rain.
It's rained late in the afternoon,
A
mostly.
lot of golfers in the morning, it only rains in the afternoon.
I drove by there at about 4:30 today, and I've never seen it more crowded than it was.
I think it was an outing.
First day the sun's been out.
Yeah, exactly.
Monday outings.
Monday, this morning, when I drove by, it was pretty packed.
So,
I'll
can we
find out.
communicate with Fiona to let the chairman know of Hillview?
Absolutely,
Thank you.
I appreciate that information. And then the last request is a joint request by the school department and the Parks and Recreation Department for the renovation of the middle school field. My recollection was the amount was $150,000.
Any source of funding?
This request actually just came in today, so we didn't have a chance to do too much investigation into it. It came in right before the
It would be nice to be done, because that field is certainly, it's underutilized because it's in terrible shape, but it's a great space.
Well,
Where's the money coming?
That's the question.
do we buy milk and eggs, or do we buy milk and eggs, or do we buy candy bars? Uh,
So
I
would you
wanna,
like
I
to-
wanna, I wanna, discuss a home rule petition that I'd like to see either go on this, October town meeting or April. And I'm sure it'll stir up a lot of controversy, but I'd like to see us adopt a home rule petition for flagmen and eliminate the necessity, police details for a lot of the, construction work that goes on in town. I guess you can applaud the governor for making a little progress in that area or in the state, and at the same time, I'm very disappointed that they backed down and left the cities and municipalities to their own. No one wants to deal with the unions, but we need to find some ways of reducing costs. And I know a lot of it is paid for by the contractors on projects other than town projects. We have a share of them. It seems to me that drives the overall cost of any project out there, really. Again, we only use Route 62 as an example. I don't know what the number was on details, but I've heard all kinds of numbers and they're extraordinary.
At one point, they were, how much behind?
How many?
Hundreds of $400,000?
There, exactly, that was money that they owed the town.
On the Route 62 project, the contractors were $400,000 in arrears on it.
Now, by the way, I also believe that there are times when, on certain construction projects, you need a police officer. So it's not just black and white. And certainly, there's gotta be examples of, policies associated with how that gets managed. I spoke to Greg about, one of the things I wouldn't see is the town hiring employees to do this. There are companies that provide these services. So, it would be up to the contractor to hire the appropriate flagman and pay directly to that company. So the town is outside of collecting. And then on the town side, DPW, or there's other good reason for the town to need flagmen, obviously, the town will pay that contractor the bill. And of course, if a police detail was really required because it's in a situation where it's absolutely necessary, then it would follow the rules that are currently in place. Now, I wanted to get an opinion of the board,
I might as well go first.
and I know where you stand,
I
Jim.
couldn't be any more opposed to it, Mr. Chair, as you can imagine. There's a number of things here that aren't really being considered. When you have a police officer on the detail, he is a police officer. He's available to go to emergency calls. He's available for assistance to people. And there's been numerous cases, I can't cite them right now. There's been numerous cases where police officers on details have made arrests because they were police officers and they were in the area. They all have radio communications with the station. So it's not like they're just standing out there with no communications. One of the biggest fallacies is we're gonna save all this money. Well, in a way, that's not true. You may save some money, because the person standing there holding the sign, I don't know this for a fact, this is just for instance. So they're making $12 an hour. Well, the company's gonna make another $15 an hour, because they have to pay the benefits to people. You almost pay the same amount for a flagman with no authority as you do for a police officer, for a sworn police officer with authority. As you said, that, a lot of it is done by contractors and that cost is passed on. Well, it is, and the cost of the flagman is gonna be passed on. It's not gonna be that big of a savings. I think of it as a safety aspect, and I'll be honest, as a benefit that the police department has. There were times when police officers were not that well paid, and they really depended on details. Police officers are fairly well paid now, and this is a benefit that they have. So I will not be in favor of a home rule on it. That's just my opinion.
Well, I think what Bob has proposed is, it serves both purposes, what Mr. Vito, you're looking to accomplish, I believe. I don't think he's looking to eliminate this home rule petition, police detail in all instances. I think if you look at particular major intersections and things like that, if road work or what have you was going on in those areas, that'd be an area where I would think most definitely you would want a police officer on a detail in that particular location. You have road work on certain side streets, and things of that nature, where a flagger would be more beneficial to use versus a police officer, because I think there would be a cost savings to this town, whether it's in a current year or a future year after that police officer retires. And I think we're in a day and age where we have to look not only short-term but long-term on how we're gonna save costs for the town. And like you said, today, police officers are paid pretty well, so I don't think they should expect or hope or that details would continue to be an additional benefit that they receive, given current financial situation that we are in as a town. I think this is something that should go forward as a home petition. I'm in favor of it.
I have a bit of a mixed opinion. I still haven't seen any hard numbers, anything. I've never actually seen anything. I mean, there's a cost savings, I guess. I don't know, I'll have to take a look at it, but I believe it should be up to the discretion of the chief in certain instances. I mean, Mead Road, I don't know if anybody has been up by my street, but they were doing some work on the telephone poles. My section of Mead Road is about this big, and there was a police officer standing there, and about 3 or 4 cars go up there the entire day. It kind of bothered me, but I mean, looking long term, I agree with Mr. Delaney. It's tough to justify. I mean, writing everything in the long term, but I really don't feel that it should be